Good morning, OKC, I suppose. I don't know if it's good or not. But welcome to Morning Thunder. The Oklahoma City Thunder, they completely blew game one, folks. The Denver Nuggets take game one in OKC, take home court by a score of 121 to 119. We're recording this early morning, Tuesday, May 6th. Just fresh out of the ball game. Still got the playoff shirt, all of that. So the feelings are raw. The feelings are raw, man. That is one of the biggest, just coaching malpractice, hand the game to the opposing team, situations I've ever seen. And I'm not trying to discredit the Denver Nuggets when I say that. They obviously fought hard. They didn't give up. They didn't roll over. And you got to give them credit, especially fresh off of a 7-game series. I called this probably foolishly before the game, pretty much an auto lose situation, because that's what the situation was for the Denver Nuggets. The odds are stacked against you. You're just fresh off of a dogfight. You usually are going to lose a game one like that. And you got to give them credit. They absolutely subverted what we've seen in the past out of teams that came fresh off of a 7-game series, hard fought, and they won the game. And you got to give them credit for that, for sure. However, Oklahoma City, if they don't find a way out of this series, which there's a lot of basketball left to be played, plenty of teams have come back after dropping game one. But if they don't, they're going to just toil at this game specifically. And they should. I don't know if they will or not, because they have the whole, 0-0 mindset, stacking days, blah, 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 that philosophy. But you're going to look back at this game one and just really be in a world of hurt, because look, you don't take opportunities like this for granted in the playoffs, especially once you hit round two, especially once you get past the Pelicans or, whatever garbage you get in the first round. This is big boy basketball. This is real. This is probably one of the best teams, if not the best team you're going to see the rest of the way in the Western Conference playoffs. And you just gave it to them. And let's talk about how they gave it to them. So it wasn't a perfect game to start. I guess I'll dive into that so we can go chronologically. They were very much not hot to start the game. 0 of 10 from 3 in that first quarter. That's brutal. They still were up, I believe they were up 1. They were pretty decent in non-Jokic minutes. Lou Dort had a bad start. The note I have here is Lou Dort has been atrocious at 5:05 in the second. He ended up getting hot. But, not a perfect game, but you're up 11. At one point, you got up 14 in this ball game. And you were up 11 with, what note did I have? 431. You're up 11 with 431. Look, the initial draft of this podcast, the initial notes before this game got out it was an ugly, unwatchable basketball game. The officials had a quick trigger both on Oklahoma City and Denver. It was a slugfest. The bigs weren't allowed to operate, and it just overall was unpleasant to watch, for sure. That, I think, clearly played into Denver's hands with the style of play, with the pace they wanted. They want it to be choppy. Oklahoma City is very free-flowing, very physical, and when you take that physicality and that free-flowingness and that the ability to, kind of get out on breaks and make hay, well, with that, that really, puts a stop to OKC. And I think Denver found something there. Granted, you kind of need the officials to make those calls, but if you can turn it into this sort of rock fight, where Oklahoma City can't convert on the other end and things are choppy, things are slow, things are awkward, weird, whatever, you could win some ball games against OKC. And I think they unlocked that a little bit tonight. I have to mention a couple performances. I thought Gilgeous-Alexander mostly was good in the first half. He ended up fine. I thought it was a par for the course game. I thought Christian Brown was pretty damn good on him, all things considered. J-Dub, look, the playoff J-Dub that we talked about being so good in that game one, or not game one, but that first series, he did not show up tonight. 5 of 20 from the field, 16 points. He was inefficient, 2 for 9 from the 3. You need him to step up more. Chet Holmgren, 12 points. Again, I mentioned this earlier, but I don't think you can dog him too much. Bit of a tough matchup with Jokic. I thought Hartenstein was pretty good. Or sometimes he kind of didn't take it up to the rim very much. Lou Dort got out of that slump. I thought that was solid. Alex Caruso, an absolute gamer. Probably one of the most consistent players that the Thunder have on their team, if not the most consistent right now in the playoffs. 20 points, 5 steals. Unbelievable. Just a dog. This guy... This is your guy. Alex Caruso is a guy who will lead you to playoff glory. Isaiah Joe, I love the guy, but man, just a brutal performance. 0 of 4 from 3 in 13 minutes. Just not great. Aaron Wiggins was fine. He hit a 3, 5 points. Cason Wallace, I mean, he wasn't a stat sheet guy by any means tonight, but I didn't see him as being glaringly poor by any means. And again, this is apparently going to have to be a series where we're going to have to see Jay Will. Because one thing you learn from this is both, or all of the bigs are going to have foul trouble. That includes Jokic. Chet got into foul, had 5 fouls. Hardenstein had 5 fouls. I don't know if this game is going to be officiated like this every time, but you would think that Hardenstein and Chet are going to have their fair share of penalties when you're going up against Nikola Jokic. So we'll see how all that shakes out. But overall, not a great performance. It really, you can harp on the ending because you had it. And I think that's the thing that's frustrating is you played kind of a frustrating, not great game, and you still had it. And I think that's a tough one to handle. I mean, that stretch in the fourth quarter was awful. It was ugly as hell. It was surreal. But let's talk about the stretch that everyone's gonna be talking about. It's 12:28 a.m. right now, but I guarantee you it already is kind of dominating the post game recaps on WWLS, and I'm sure the franchise, whatever. That's worth talking about. The foul strategy up 3. And look, I'll say this. I get what the analytics say. If you have a defense that good, even with how they're calling the game, you do not automatically foul up 3. It is unbelievably unacceptable. It is frustrating. It drives me wild that is how Mark Daigneault and the Oklahoma City Thunder ended that game. That is where they properly handed it over. Because it wasn't great. This podcast would have been critical. It would have been different. We would have been frustrated about the performance for sure, yeah. But we wouldn't be mourning and furious about a Game 1 loss that was in your hands and facing a Game 2 where your season is legitimately on the line. If the Thunder lose Game 2, the season is kaput. It's over. That is a hard thing to crawl back from. Down 0-2, going to Denver, you have to find a way to win Game 2. And it didn't have to be that way. It did not have to be that way. This game was in hand, but big brain behavior strikes, and you look at the analytics, and, they tell you to foul up 3. Yeah, that's fine, sure. But when Aaron Gordon is inbounding the ball, and he has 94 feet to go, 10 seconds left, you give him some time. You don't immediately foul Aaron Gordon. It's ridiculous. You're letting them off the hook. You're one of the best defenses in the NBA. In NBA history. Act like it. Lock them down. See what you can do. Jokic just standing there on the sidelines. They have no timeouts. And I get that your philosophy is to foul when you're up 3. Whatever. That's fine. But you have to be movable. You have to be flexible to some degree. I understand that goes against the ethos of what the Thunder organization wants to do. You have to have your principles. You have to stick to them. I get that. But that cannot be a rigid part of your principle. You have to excise that like a damn tumor. Because going and fouling Aaron Gordon, who is perfectly fine from the line, that is he is not the best free throw shooter, but he's sure as hell isn't he's not a hack-a-shack candidate by any means. When you have the best player in basketball standing there on the bench, unable to do anything, you burn some damn clock. If you're going to play that game, burn clock. Do not give your guys opportunities to miss free throws. And I'm not trying to pin this on Chet Holmgren. Yeah, it was not a great performance by any means. I thought he had weak points. He had to guard Nikola Jokic. That's a tough freaking performance. That is a tough assignment. Which I also thought was weird that they put Jokic on him, or him on Jokic primarily. I thought he had moments where he looked good. But at the same time, Jokic had 42 and 22? So I mean, you can't knock a young player for, not getting it done in the last couple moments. Honestly, he shouldn't have had to. He should not have had to at that moment. It's unacceptable. And and my thing is, let's say it goes the entire length of the court, right? Let's play this out in the worst case scenario where you give Gordon time. You give Gordon time to go all the way down and shoot, right? Let's say you forget to foul him entirely. He hits that 3-point, right? You're tied. Instead of being down 1 and having no timeouts, no time left to get the ball up the court, and J-Dub has to hurl up a Hail Mary. You somehow have crafted a situation by letting him off the hook that early in which, it's just so galaxy brain. And by galaxy brain, I mean overthinking it. reliance on the analytics. And let's let this Ferrari of a defense just do its job and stop these guys. Or not only that, let's put them in a position where they can foul after burning some clock. I know you trust your guys to make free throws. Everyone does. That's just how basketball is. But you want to give your team the least amount of opportunities to screw up and force the other team into the most amount of opportunities to screw up and give them the least amount of time to make something happen. And the Thunder did not do that down the stretch. Daigneault, after the game, said that he thought they executed the foul game well. They lived up to the philosophy. Fine. I'm sure they did. But that philosophy is flawed. And I'm not some basketball genius by any means. I, for the most part, am just an idiot who enjoys the sport and, will clap like a seal anytime something good happens. But I am smart enough to know that you have to understand circumstance. You have to understand consequences. You have to understand the context of a game within the moment. And the philosophy cannot be that rigid. So I say this for multiple reasons. Philosophy, I don't want to say it's an issue, because I think it's gotten the Thunder very far. It's gotten the Thunder where they were regular season-wise, 0-0, all that. It's great. But if you cannot bend from this philosophy that everything's going to be okay, just focus, get back to it, get back to your habits, all of that, and realize the moment. Realize that there's real pressure on this, and you have to crank it up a notch. You have to be desperate, because the Thunder rarely act desperate. And that's smart. That probably is smart. When you're trying to keep things steady, that's probably smart. They were not desperate enough against the Dallas Mavericks until it mattered. Until it mattered in Game 4. They had to win that game. They won the game. Didn't look desperate in Game 5. Looked desperate in Game 6. Came up short. But, you cannot have this chill, let's just get back to our habits, lock in mindset in a playoff series. You have to understand the circumstances. When things get rough, you have to crank things up. You have to feel that pressure and respond to it and acknowledge it. You cannot brush it off. And my biggest concern is that the Thunder aren't going to acknowledge it, that they're just going to process it out and just move on like nothing happened. And look, if they do that, they're probably going to lose Game 2. And it's just infuriating as a Thunder fan. This was a huge opportunity to take a one-game lead on a very good Denver team, and you just handed it away. The Thunder just handed it away. And I know it's Game 1. There's a lot of basketball left to be played. The Thunder can still win the series. Hell, they can still win the series in 5. I know I made that prediction. Maybe that was too optimistic, but also, who could have predicted that? Who could have predicted that? That self-combustion, it was atrocious. But we'll see. The Thunder are going to have to dig deep. They're going to have to really look at themselves in the mirror and figure this thing out. Teams have done it before. Really good Thunder teams have done it before. Really good Thunder teams have lost Game 1s by worse and in more embarrassing fashions. Think that 2014 team that got just spanked by the Clippers at home. 2016 that got spanked by the Spurs on the road, which is a little bit more acceptable than this. There are ways to get back, but it has to start with Game 2, and it has to be desperate. It has to be the series is on the line. We have to even this up. Be ready for a damn dogfight, and do not let up. You cannot give up a 14-point lead. You cannot start slow. It's got to be hardcore, or else this team is going to have another second-round disappointment, and we all do not want that, and we all cannot have that. For all of our mental health's sake, I tell you what, this is frustrating. But we'll see. We'll see what this team's made of. This is where champions dig deep. They're not They're not the only team to lose a bad Game 1. Look at what happened in Boston. Look what happened in Cleveland. So, and I'm not trying to make excuses. This was bad. This is unacceptable. But it happens. The world ain't over yet. They just gotta dig deep. And if they don't, this thing's going to wrap up way sooner than any of us would have wanted. That's all I got for today. I know, super bummer way to start your morning, but the good thing about the series is things bouncing right back on Wednesday. So we have to just live with the feelings for another, I don't know, 30 some odd hours. I don't know. I'm bad at math. Really not in the mood to do it. But no, yeah, this is going to suck. This is going to really suck. But that's part of the playoffs. And when the Thunder get their next win, hopefully Game 2, savor it, soak it up, because it's hard to win games. And that's what makes this so incredibly painful, because it gave it away. Thank you all so much for listening and watching. If you like this, for one, you're a bit of a sicko if you like this. This is not a fun one to record. This was probably not a fun listen, but we'll be covering the Thunder the rest of the playoff run. So make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube at Morning Thunder. If you're listening on the audio feed, subscribe to us there as well. Make sure to review us 5 stars. But yeah, thank you for sticking with us. Disappointing result. Again, the Denver Nuggets 121, the Thunder 119. I'm still just in awe. Still just in awe, man. What a disaster. Shout out Alex Caruso though. That guy's a dog. That guy's awesome. That's a leader you should rally behind right there, is Alex Caruso. That's a guy who gets it. Anyways, till next time, keep the faith. Thunder up, everyone.